Okay, so we'll wait. We'll recite Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the Gatha of the Danda Sutta. I think we have already briefly discussed on this, but we'll go in detail, which is a quite easy sutta to understand, also translate. So I think there is the sutta is also quite short. So if anyone can briefly translate the sutta quickly and go to the Gatha. It's a very one paragraph is there. It's good for our translation ability. Anyone is volunteer to do the translation?
Okay, I'll do it. Bhante.
I can.
Okay.
Yes. Ewang mi sutang ekang samawat awati yang viharati jetavane anatapin dikasta arame. Thus have I heard one time the Blessed One was dwelling at the Jetavana monastery of Anathapindika near Savatthi. Tenako pana samayena sambahula pumaraka antaraja Savattheng antaraja Jetavanang ahenjandena ananti. Then at the time in between Savatthi and Jetavana, many youngsters were torturing a snake with a stick. Atako bhagawa uppanna samayang niwasetoa pati jiwara madaya Savattheng bendaya pavisi. Then the Blessed One in the morning, after having gotten dressed and taken bow and robe, entered Savatthi for arms. Adasa ko bhagawa sambahule kumarake antaraja Savattheng antaraja te jetavanang ahen jandena hanante. Then the Blessed One saw many youngsters torturing a snake with a stick in between Savatthi and Jetavana. Atako bhagawa etamathang avidito tayang vela yang imang udanang udanesi. Having understood this meaning, the Blessed One uttered this utterance at that time. Sukha kamani putani yodandena vihensati atano sukha mesano pecha so na lapate sukhang. Sukha kamani putani yodandena nahensati atano sukha mesano pecha so lapate sukhang. Who one searches for happiness for oneself, but with thick, calm beings who desire for happiness, does not gain happiness after death. One who searches for happiness for oneself and does not with thick, calm beings who desire for happiness, gains happiness after death.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much. Very nicely translated, Sadhu.
Thank you.
So I think everyone could understand it. It was clearly translated. So we'll go into the detailed explanation about the Gatha and the commentary. I hope you can see the Gatha. Sukha kamani bhutani yodhandena vihinsati attano sukha mesano pechaso nalabhate sukhang sukha kamani bhutani yodhandena nahinsati attano sukha mesano pechaso labhate sukha. So then how to understand the meaning of the Gatha? Yo sukha kamani bhutani dandena vihinsati. So this is the first relative clause. Attano sukha mesano so pecha sukhang nalabhate. So this so, even you put it in the beginning, so attano sukhang esano pecha sukhang nalabhate, And attano sukang esano so pecha sukang labate, it doesn't make much difference to the meaning. Grammatically, we can see there's a structural difference, but to understand the meaning, even you put this so in the beginning, or even you keep so here, it is not a problem. So so it is so I kept it here, but you can see according to the commentary, so puggalo attano sukang esano, so is written here, right? According to the commentary, we can see the so is written here, so attano sukang esano pecha sukang nalabat. Even though we write it here and remove this so, it is not a problem. In terms of meaning, it is the same. So when we remove it here, so then we it's not that much difficult to understand. Yo vihinsati, who harms, tortures. What is the object of this sentence? Bhutani, the living beings. What sort of living beings? Those who wish, desires for happiness. Sukha kamani, right? Sukha kamani means, sukha kamo means a person who desire for happiness. So this is a sukha kama. Sukha kama is an adjective, and it can be put in all the three genders according to the noun it modifies. So here is a neuter gender plural noun, so we have used here sukha kamani. sorry. So one who hurts or torments the beings who wish for happiness, by which dandena, certain stick or with a punishment. So they torment the beings, one who torments the beings. So that person who torments, so attano sukang esano. So here we can see this is a present participle. So this present participle has acted as a nominative absolute here according to this. If you put so here instead of putting here and remove this so, then this esano is acting as a adjective to so, right? So grammatically there is a structural difference, but meaning wise that is the same. So we'll go according as a commentary as mentioned. So attano sukang esano, while searching for his happiness. Sukang is happiness, searching for happiness. Attano, for himself, or for of him, or it can be his. It can be genitive case. Yeah, it can be genitive, and also we can have a dative meaning. For him, searching happiness for him, or searching his happiness. Picture in the following life, having died, been here. Picture is translated as in the following life, having died and been born in the following lives, in the next life. So picture is normally a gerund, is a gerund. So you can just translate in the next life. It means technically having died and born in the next life. Sukang nalabate, he does not get. Labate is labati. You know, in the present tense we have conjugational signs, verbal terminations. Sorry, verbal terminations. We have ti, anti, si, the, mi, ma, and also we have another type of verbal termination, te, ante, se, he, e, he. So all have the same meaning. For example, we have ti, anti, si, the, mi, ma. So the same meanings. This is third person singular, third person plural, second person singular, second person plural, first person singular, first person plural. That can be replaced by te, ante, se, he, e, he. So ti and te are equal, third person singular. Then anti and ante are equal, they are third person plural. Si and se are equal, second person singular. The and ve is singular, plural, second person plural. Me and a is first person singular. Ma and me, mhe is first person plural. So here labate is equal to labati. Te and ti are equal. So is it present tense? He obtains happiness in the following life. So he doesn't obtain happiness. Nalabhate, because he has harmed the living beings. Yo sukakamani bhutani dandena nahinsati. So here vihinsati and hinsati have the same meaning according to this context. So one who does not harm the living beings who search for happiness with sticks or with whatever punishment. So that person, attano sukang esano. Esano is a present participle, right? Uh, it's like we have anta, ant, man, ana. We have three present participle suffixes: ant, man, an. So this ana is not very common like ant or mana, but it is also present participle suffix. So asati comes for searching, that the root is to search. So esano, while searching, present participle. It's not nominative absolute. Picture having born, sukang labati, he obtains the happiness. Why? He has not harmed the living beings who are in search of happiness, who are desirous for happiness. So this is the normal translation of this gatha. Yeah, we'll go to the commentary to find out some few. There are not much important points. Few grammatical points and dhamma points can be found. So before that, if anyone has a problem in this translation, you can ask questions.
Bhante,
Yes, sir.
that Bhante, there is a passive voice. Can we translate that sentence in a passive voice?
You mean participle can we translate as passive voice? Is it?
Yes, Lapante is passive voice, right?
No. This is this is active voice. Right?
Oh,
If you want to put the labate into passive voice, the ya suffix would be there. Lab. Lab is the root. Plus ya plus te. It's true that in most of the cases, uh, te suffix can be seen in the passive voice usage. The verbal terminations we can use for any we can use for any uh, like any kind of tense. That is not a problem. Verbal termination, like verbal terminations can be used to any kind of tense. Then whether it's passive or active voice. So, but the main indicator of passive voice is the ya suffix. The main indicator of the passive voice is the ya suffix. So therefore, if it is a passive voice tense, mostly it would become labbate, because bha and ya go assimilation, bbh. Or either we can make another one, labhiyate, because insertion of long e. Sometimes in some cases this long e has become shortened also, right? I have seen some maybe they are scribal errors, I'm not sure about that. To my understanding, the long e and short e both have been seen passive voice, but mostly it is the long e. Sometimes we instead of inserting an e here, it goes into assimilation. So indicator of passive voice should be ya. There are some cases without ya, the passive voice has been formed, but in most of the cases, ya should be there. So in passive voice, we see instead of t, the second type of verbal termination can be seen, because that is how it was used in. No, it is like this te can be used, and in Sanskrit, as far as I remember, in passive voice, we find these types of verbal termination. Sorry. So therefore, Pāḷi also we find this these kind of terminations for passive voice, but it is not a must. It is not a must. This te can be used. T and te can be used both for active voice and passive voice.
thank you, Bhante.
Okay.
Bhante,
Yes, double.
Yes, Bhante. So the labate is middle voice, right, Bhante?
Middle form. Yeah. According to the
Could Bhante please
Western approach explanation, Sanskrit-based expression, we call it middle tense, middle form. Yeah, but according to Pāli, we call it Parasapada, Arthanopada. Okay,
Parasapada, Bhante?
this was Arthanopada.
Could Bhante please explain a little bit about the middle voice, Bhante? Like what is the difference with the active voice, Bhante?
Active voice and middle voice and active passive and middle. What is the other form? I forgot. Sorry. Middle voice and what is it we call? Arthanopada, Parasapada in English.
If I see from the table, it is active voice and middle voice, Bhante.
Yeah, that's right. Middle voice or middle form?
The table that I have say middle
You mean
voice, Bhante.
T and K? Yeah. So
The T ending, the labate.
Sarah, do you remember the two terms, Attanopada, Parasapada? How do we translate it?
They are middle conjugation.
And
Attanopada. Attanopada is a middle conjugation.
Parasapada?
Parasapada is just I think it's just they call the active or active something like that. Yeah.
So now when we come, okay, I'll for this I will go to the notes, right? I hope you can see this. The notes.
Yes, Bhante.
Right. So we'll go into a new point, right? This is called active voice. This active voice is Karaka. And then we also have called Kama Karaka. Then we have another one is Parasapada. This is also translated as Kattu Pada, I will call it. No, sorry, this is called also, sorry. This is gone up and down, sorry. We'll write Kattu Karaka in Pāli with active voice. Then we also have Kamma Karaka, which is called passive voice. Then we also have Parasapada, which is also called active voice. We also have Attanopada, which is called middle voice. So if if you say this is translated voice, so Kattukaraka and Kammakaraka, this active and passiveness is different from these two. These are just verbal terminations. Like Parasapada are ti, anti, si, the, mima. Attanopada is te, ante, se, ubhe, e, emhe. That is just verbal termination. Now I'm talking about the modern Pāli. Modern Pāli means the Pāli we have today, even during the Buddha's time. So in the very ancient time, according to the grammarians, there was a difference on it. Like Attanopada was used for mainly for Kamakaraka, and Parasapada was used to Kattukaraka. So likewise, there was a difference in it. But when it comes to the Buddha's era, even the language was used in the Prakrit, there was no such a distinction. Like Kattukaraka and Parasapada and Kammakaraka and Attanopada, there was no such difference in it. They were interchangeable. So Parasapada. So now what we have today is Parasapada is just verbal terminations. Attanopada is also just verbal terminations. So we have two types of verbal terminations for the every tense, like present tense, past tense, future tense, and also. So Kattukaraka, Kamakaraka is a philosophical, grammatical point. Grammatical means in Kattukaraka, verb denotes the doer. In Kamakaraka, verb refers to the object, right? So this is like, this completely changes the meaning of the sentence. Like if it is a Kattukaraka, verb is used, like pachati, we know the subject is the main part. Subject is being referred. If you use pachiyati, then we know it is a kamakara. The object is emphasized. But parasapada, atanopada, ti, anti, sita, mima, you can use with any of the Kattukaraka verb or Kamakaraka verb. Atanopada also you can use. So I'll elaborate this point now. Now, this, if we say Puriso, Odanang, Pachati. This is Pachati. I'm referring, we are only talking about the verb, right? So when we talk about the verb, I want to color this actually. We'll color it with, yeah, no. We'll make it like this, Pachati, right? So now this Pachati is, he is active voice verbal terminations, and the verb is also ka, right? This active voice. At the same time, parasapada, right? So for example, if we take the present tense, this this one is Kattukaraka parasapada. This parasapada can be used as ti, anti, si, te, mima, all are parasapada. Te, ante, se, evhe are attanopada. So the same thing we can say Puriso, Odanang, Pachate. This is parasapada terminations, middle voice terminations. So in the middle, even the middle voice termination can be used with the Kattu. So here this one is Kattukaraka Attanopada. If we use it Purisena, or the no, Pachati, because of ya suffix, this become double, or Pachiyati. We have two possibilities. This is the Kamakaraka. But this verbal termination is ti, so it is Parasapada. Then we have Purisena, or the no, Pachate, or Pachiyate. So this one is still Kamakaraka and Attanopada. Right? So you can see this the activeness and passiveness of a verb is different from the type of the verbal termination. So even the passive active voice, Pachati, this is, you can see, because it's active, that is why the subject is written in nominative case. Here it is passive, that's why the object is written in nominative case, the subject is in instrumental case. So therefore, even though we say active voice here and active voice here, this is the one which leads to confusion. Even though English in translations we use both the same thing, in terms of Pāli, they are two different things, right? And in the ancient time, what I have learned is, now Kattukaraka Parasapada was used to Kattukaraka and Attanopada was used to Kamakaraka. So there was so this translation is correct when we consider about the ancient rule. But at the moment, this Parasapada has lost its Kattukaraka sense. Attanopada also has lost its Kamakaraka sense. So they are just verbal terminations. They don't have any active or passive meaning, even though they are translated thus, so in the according to the ancient grammatical rules, right? So to conclude, these Parasapada, Attanopada voices has no meaning related to the activeness or passiveness of a sense of a verb, as we discussed in the Kamakaraka and Kattukaraka. I hope you found this, or if you have any questions.
Okay,
Hi,
Bhante.
Bhante.
Yes.
I just want to add a comment. I mean, that is we need to think about this as well because I heard this from a Sayadaw, but so according to his explanation, then for example, here we have two sentences. Puriso odanang pachati with the parasapada and Puriso odanang pachate with the atanopada. Then he said that in the parasapada, we use it in the sense that that person cooks the food for himself, for somebody else.
Okay.
And Puriso odanang pachate means he cooked for himself.
Okay.
So that's why it is atanopada.
Okay.
So
Okay,
that's what I heard. Yes. So which means the parasapada and atanopada doesn't have anything to do with active voice or passive voice. If somebody's doing something for himself, then it has the meaning of atanopada. But he does it for somebody else, then it has the meaning of parasapada. But that is the original. This is the ancient philosophy. But as you said, nowadays we use atanopada and parasapada interchangeable, so it doesn't mean anything anymore. Yeah.
Okay. So what he said was, in the ancient meaning, Attanopada and Parasapada was not related to Kattukamma, but it was related to whom the action was done, aiming whom.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I have, I think, yeah. Okay, I have read this in one place. Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for that information. Yeah, I remember it as connected to active voice and passive voice. But when you look into the word formation, it makes sense. What the shadow makes sense, because you are doing it for someone else and you're doing it for yourself. Attano means for yourself, Parasa means someone else. Oh, thank you very much for that information.
So Bhante, I remember like the Bhante Indriya, he also explained like this, like the Parasapada is he does the action for others, and Atanopada is he does the action for himself.
Okay.
But this is like a background. So this was the original meaning, but in Pāļi it all a mixture. And but but in Sanskrit, if the sentence is passive voice, we have to use Atanopada.
Always Atanopada.
Yeah. That is a fixed rule in Sanskrit, but in Pāļi it's not like this.
Okay. Thank you for that.
So basically, like, it has no difference in meaning at all in Pāļi. Currently,
different. Like it was done for someone else and something was done for yourself, but it has nowadays it has no difference.
Okay, Bhante. Thank you very much, Bhante.
Okay.
Thank you also, Dr. Ryan.
Right. So we'll move to the sutta then. Yeah, I will share the screen. Sutta vocabulary. So now this is, I think we clarified this point. So then we go to the commentary. Sukha kamani, so one who wishes for happiness and so forth. It's easy to understand. Bhutani and living beings. Then dandenati, right? So your dandena vihinsati, who harms others with sticks. So here there are dandenati, this desana matta. This is a very important usage when you read the commentaries. Desana mattang means now, even though it is mentioned as the stick, normally we literally translate the stick, danda, right? Stick. So it doesn't indicate that you will get the suffering only when you harm someone with a stick. It can be dandena, leddu. Leddu means by stones, sattha by weapons, hani by your hand. So pahara is hitting, any strike. Any strike given by a stone, a weapon, or by hand, they all are counted here. So danda doesn't mean, it is just a desanama. It's just a way of the way, because you cannot preach all the possibilities that one can harm others. So it's just one out was used out of the lot. So therefore, we have to understand it's not only the stick. So desana mattang means this word will come in many places in the commentaries. Desana mattang is just the meaning is just for the preaching. It doesn't cover the entire meaning. There can be some other possibilities of explaining. Like there are some other meanings are also found in it, but only if, for example, out of a lot, there are many things that are included in according to the context, but only one is preached. So when we preach such, so we can call it as a desana matta. Desana matta is just for mere teaching, in the way of teaching. Otherwise, it doesn't mean that what is mentioned in the word. It's only we are not counting what is mentioned in the word. So there are also two other we call in Pāļi Naya. Sometimes we out of a lot we just refer to something out of the group, and in some cases we refer to the main thing. Like for example, when we say the king came, actually it is many people came with the king. A lot of people came with the king. So but we are referring only as the king arrived, but the king will never come alone. Normally he will come with the army. So but we are referring to the main thing. So when we say chitta arises, it doesn't mean chitta arises alone. There should be chitta chesikas all arising together, but we refer to the main element, the chitta. So likewise, in Pāļi explanations, out when a group should be mentioned, sometimes the Buddha would mention one thing. That one thing can be one out of the lot, or it can be the main thing out of the lot. There are both the possibilities are there. Then we have another explanation of dandena. Atava dandenati dandena. So here dandena means punishment. Sorry. Something like a punishment. So here danda means stick. So idang muttang hoti. Yo supakamani bhutani jati adi gattana vasena vachi dande. So someone harms others, mentally harms others by verbally harms others. Pani muggara sattadihi potana thalana chedanadi vase, like hitting, cutting, with physical torture, giving physical torture. This is mental torture, verbal torture. Or there's another danda, satang va sahasang va tapana vasena dana dande. So there are three types of danda according to this: vachi danda, sarira danda, and dana danda. Right? Vachi danda, sarira danda, and dana danda. Danda have two meanings. It can be just a stick, or it can be some kind of a penalty, or it can be a certain means of punishing someone and so forth. Punishment. Then the one who searches for his own happiness after in the next life, pecca paraloke manussa sukang dibba sukang nibbana sukanti tividampi sukang nalabati. He doesn't obtain all this happiness. Anyadattu, certainly anyadattu tena dandena, because of that punishment or because of hitting with such things, dukkha meva labatiti atto. He would attain only suffering, right? Only suffering. Then in the next gatha, the negation: if you don't harm others, you will have the happiness, in threefold happiness: the manussa sukha, dibba sukha, and also nibbana sukha. You can see manussa sukha, manussa bhuto manussa sukham, being a human, he will attain the human bliss. Deva sukha, dibba sukha, being a deva, ubaya sukha atikkanto, nibbana sukha, the nibbana sukha which transcends all these suffering. So there's a grammatical point to be explained. Then ettacha, in this gatha, this is the grammatical point I want to emphasize. Ettacha tādisassa puggalassa avassa sambhavitaya. Avassa sambhavitaya means because of its avassa sambhavi means something which happens for sure. Avassam is for sure, for certainty. Sambhavi, happening. Tan sukhang pachanu pachupannam vihotiti dasanatang labhateti ucca. So it means if something is sure to happen, if something is sure to happen, in the Theravada tradition, grammatically and philosophically, sometimes we refer it as something present. We can refer it as something present. So we can see this in some Tikamatika about the Upadino Dhamma, and sometimes when we talk about the suffering to come, Anupanna Dhamma, we are referring to if something is sure to happen, there are two things. There something is possible to happen and something is sure to happen. In some cases, even something is possible to happen, we still say we are bound with that suffering. We are not freed from that suffering. But if something is sure to happen, grammatically, we, instead of using, because the incident is going to happen in future, because of its certainty to happen, we may use the present tense instead of the future tense. So that's why, otherwise someone can argue, he is suffering the other beings in this life, and in the next life, after dying and born in the next life, he obtains the happiness. This should be labhisati. He will obtain happiness. We normally say if you do good deeds, you will get benefits. That is the English usage. If you do evil deeds, you will get the suffering. So something that is going to happen in future, because karma is nana kanika. Nana kanika means karma gives results not at the same moment that we do the karma. It gives the results afterwards, like after some time. So therefore, normally we may use the future tense to explain that something is going to happen, something will happen in future. But since this, according to this philosophical point, if you are sure to get suffering or sure to get happiness in the following lives due to doing such good or bad deeds, because of that certainty of gaining that result, instead of using the future tense, we have the tradition has used, the Buddha has used the present tense. So that's why it says, ettacha thādisassa puggalassa avassam bhavitaya. Because of that person, the roughly meaning is tan sukham pachuppannam vihotiti dasanata. So that because that person would be such, so that person would encounter such state, like enduring suffering or experiencing bliss, because it's going to happen for sure. So that happiness, pachuppannam vihotiti, it is considered as present, dasanatam, to show that it is going to happen for sure. Labhateti uttam. It was used labhate, present tense, instead of using the future tense. Yeah, so this is also another rule that I would like to discuss in this gatha. So if you have any questions on this.
So Bhante, regarding the Dante Nadi Desanamatang here, so what is the difference, the Desanamatang and the Desana Kama?
Desana Kama.
Yes.
They are in terms of usage, they are the same. Desana Kama refers to one way of preaching, and Desana Matang, we indicate the same thing. If you go literally, it will have a different meaning, but in the sense of the meaning, they are the same. Desana Kama, so you can say Desana Matang. So Desana Vilasa Vasena, the way of preaching. So they are all, in the end, in terms of essence, they refer to the same thing, like a way of preaching.
So that means their preaching style is the same.
Yeah. Preaching,
so
yeah.
Instead of the Desana Matang here, we can use Desana Kama.
yeah, we can use that. We can use the same word, that word also. It will literally need to be translated differently, right? It will just translated differently, but technically, like meaning in terms of essence, we can use such words. Sometimes they say desana vilasavase. Why? Buddha used that word instead of another word because that person could understand the meaning because of that word, right? So that is called desana vilasavase. Sometimes out of a group he used one word. So that is one of the naya. Naya is kama. Kama and naya are identical, right? Kama and naya.
Yes, we learned that the key who comes and like that. We learned that one.
Exactly. So this also indicates such a out of the group, he's only indicating danda, one out of the lot. So that's to show that it is just a way of preaching.
Okay. Thank you, Bhante.
Hi, Bhante.
Oh,
so desanakama. So kama means order, right? So
yeah,
so
desanakama is order. Yeah, desanakama is order. Sure.
So from my understanding that when we use the word desanakama, which means it says, of course, it is the way of preaching, but it has kind of a series, the order of things in there. Right? But here in this case, there is no ordering, there is no series. So why should it be the same? I think matta here just merely, right?
Yeah.
It's just for the, it's just merely
a
teaching. Yes. I don't see why.
Should
those two words the same?
Yes, desanakama. Sorry for that. Desanakama indicates the order. Yeah, true.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, Sarah. It should be taken as desanakama is the order. We can match this with desana naya. We can say naya and desana matta technically they refer to a way of preaching. Yeah, desanakama we have to say it's the order of preaching. Technically, kama refers to order.
But I mean,
but
that
also, like if you go into the meaning of the Sanskrit meaning, it comes from desana krama. So we can also refer it as a way of preaching because kama, when we refer to the Sanskrit word, it can be order of preaching and the way of preaching also. I'll check on this more further, but normally when he explained, I also felt desana kama mostly refers to the order of preaching, but I can also sense there can be another meaning for that. I'll talk with my friend also and give you a more detailed explanation on this, because they have been studying about this desana kama, desana naya in Abhivansa. I'll get more information and share with you in the Q&A session. If you can add this part what is desana kama and desana naya, I will discuss with him in the Q&A session and we'll have a discussion on this.
Okay, thank you, Bhante.
Bhante?
Yes, Robin.
Could Bhante please explain a bit again about the Avasambhavitaya, Bhante, because I still not really understand, Bhante.
Avasambhavi. Avasambhavi means actually it should be Avasambhavi, not Sambhavi. Avasambhavi. Avasang means it's one kind of we can say indeclinable adjectival adverbial meaning. Avasang is if something is going to happen for sure. That is called avasang. Something is going to happen for sure. So, for example, certain. For example, the death of a living being is avasang, for sure.
Okay.
Right? Death of a living being is for sure. So, avasang bhavi means bhavati, happens. Right? Right? If something is going to happen for sure, we call it avasang bhavi. That is sure to happen. Right? So, avasambhavi means because that person, tadisassa puggalassa avasambhavitaya. So that person is going to have some changes in the following life. Like he would be a happyful person, a person who is suffering. So this kind of a change is going to happen to him. So for that thing is for surely is going to happen. Tadisasa puggalasa avassam bhavithaya. So this is tha is nature. Ya is because of the instrumental case, right? So avassam bhavita, because of that, it's certain that if that person is going to be in such a state. So because of that, tan sukang, that happiness is considered as pachupan.
So the ya is instrumental, Bhante. The ya ending.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, Bhante. Thank you very much, Bhante.
Excuse me, Bhante.
Yes, yes.
Anya Dattu and Anyata in Akarena, these are same or not, Bhante?
Anya dattu, anya tha. You mean anya dattu
Yeah.
and anya tha, right? Okay. And anya tha. Yeah, anya tha is a tha suffix. It refers to akara, a manner. So anya is different. If something happens in a different way, it's called anya tha. Anya dattu is normally what I have read in the dictionaries is something which happens for sure. There are a few meanings for anya dattu. So we know about a friend called anya dattu hara. Some friends, he's not a good friend. He comes and always takes something from his friend, takes away something. So normally in the dictionaries, the word anyadattu is given like something which happens certainly. Anyadattu is a nipata. Anyadattu is a nipata. Anyatha is also a nipata, but is a taddita nipata. Avyaya taddita, because the tha suffix has been used. Here's tha suffix. So anyatha is connected as anya plus tha. So avyaya taddita. Anya dattu, what we have learned is as a direct nipata in declinable form. So there are two different meanings, as far as I know.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, sorry. I'm also checking a dictionary on this because I have the dictionary I read about this long time ago. It says, yeah. So yeah, thank you for your question. According to AP Buddhadatta, Anya Dattu has two meanings. Yeah, Anya Dattu has two meanings. That is certainly and in another way. Right. So according to, as you have the question, according to AP Buddhadatta, sometimes Anya Dattu can be referred to Anyatha also. Yes. So your question is, yeah, it has a relationship. If you go to the third book of Pāḷi course, right? If you go to the third book of Pāḷi course, it says this has two meanings. Thank you for that question, actually. So it has the meaning of certainly something is going to happen, something which happens in another way. So the example given by AP Buddhadatta is, I'll go to the Sutta reading notes. Anya Dattu, right? The meaning of Anya Dattu. So he has two meanings. That is certainly and in another manner. So for the certainly, it is the explanations are clear. So there are a lot of explanations. Anya Dattu Sissang Musilang Acharyang Tomeva Chessasi. So you will defeat him. So likewise, the Anyadattu certainly meaning is found. So the simile given for in another manner is Ayasma Rattapalu. Sakapitu Nivesane Neva Danang Alatta Na Pachakkanang Anyadattu Akosana Meva Alatta. So the translation is given. Venerable Ayas Rattapala in his father's house, Sakapitu, in his own father's house, Sakapitu Nivesane, Neva Danang Alatta didn't get any food, Na Pachakkanan. Pachakkanan didn't get a refusal also. He's like he was not get any dana or didn't get any refusal. There's, for example, respectfully say we don't have dana, not refused. But it says in the other way, Akosana Meva Alatta, he got just a scolding. Just a scolding. So it says in Sinhalese we say Anikatata. In the other way, like instead of getting these, in the other way he got the scolding. He didn't get dana, he didn't get the refusal. He was not said there's no food and not he was refused, neither he was refused, but he got the accusation. So this seems like Anyatha and Anyadattu have a different meaning, little bit of a different. Anyatha is a manner you do something. Here it means instead of them you got this. So so it's better. It seems like it's better to translate according to this translation. It seems better to translate another instead of that. There's another explanation. Hey, Kutassa Vadang Aro Pesanti. Anya Dattu Samanaseva Gota Massa Savaka Sampajjanti. The translation is given. How, from where do they bring vada, how to say, argument? How would they bring an argument against Venerable Gautama? Right? Against Venerable Gautama. Some part is missing here, right? How they bring an argument against Venerable Gautama. Instead, Anyadattu, Samanaseva Gautamasa Savaka Sampajjan. Instead, they become the disciples of Venerable Gautama. So it's better to say, according to the context, in Sinhalese they say Anikatata, it's a different word, so it's better to say instead. So instead of. So how can they bring any argument against the Venerable Gautama? Instead, they become the Savakas of Gautama. So here also we can see in the translation, Venerable Rattapala didn't get any dana, any refusal from his house. Instead, he got Akosana. So I think also it's better to translate as instead, as you said, it's quite similar to Anyatha. But when we look into the, if you, in Sinhalese book, Pāļi Bhāṣāvataranaya, book number 3, at the end of the part, you can see these examples. And for the English readers, Pāļi course, part 3, Pāļi course part, the new Pāļi course, part 3, at the end of the book, there is a glossary of indeclinables. So in this, you can find these two meanings. Yeah, so I think Anyadattu it has a meaning of certainly that is very common in the Pāļi, and there's another meaning called instead, which is a little bit similar to Anyatha. But I think it is not exactly similar. It's better to say anyata is in another manner.
Hello? Hello, Bhante?
End of the anyata.
Yes, Bhante.
We've concluded that, right? You could hear. So we'll go to the next sutta, next gatha. If you have any questions. No, right. So we'll go to the next sutta, the Sakkara Sutta, which is quite long. So we'll directly go to the gatha. So if you brief the sutta, the Buddha and the Sangha was getting a lot of merit, lot of benefit, lot of gain during that time, and the other ascetics were not having such fortunes. So they were accusing the Buddha and the Sangha when they were going to the village. So then this was informed to the Buddha. Then Buddha preached this gatha, very nice gatha, about which also indicates about vipassana meditation. So it says, Game aranye sukha dukkha puttho nevattato no parato daheta pusanti passa upading paticha nirupading kena puseyu passa. So this is actually it has a lot of philosophical meaning also in it, and he uttered this gatha. So we'll go to translate the gatha. If anyone is volunteered to translate this, it's a little bit a difficult gatha, but would appreciate if someone tries. Anyone volunteer to translate? How about Siali? Can you translate? Try.
Okay, Bhante, I will try.
Okay.
Kame anani sukha dukkha buddho nevatato no parato dahita. You affected by happiness and suffering in the village or forest. You should certainly not think it because of oneself or others.
As oneself, right?
Yeah. Pusandi pasa upading badija nirupading gena puseyong pasadi. Having based on this reason, Pusandi pasa here, how can we translate Bhante?
Pusanti passa. So here, so passa here refers to the contact. Passa pusanti, contacts, touch, like it makes contact. Make contact.
Having based on the contact.
No, okay. Upading is 5 aggregates, we can translate. Upadi is 5 aggregates.
Okay, having based on the 5 aggregates because of contact.
The contact touches or contacts the have 5 aggregates, right? Or you can say based on the 5 aggregates, they exist, right? Okay, right? Kena karane, you can look into the understand the gatha, it's easier. So gameva aranyeva sukha dukkha puttho attato na daheta no parato daheta. This is answer there, right? So you can see in the this is easy to translate. Passa upadim paticca pusanti. Right? So here pusati. Here you can see in the vocabulary to exist, to touch and to exist. So here pusati is exist. Contacts exist because of aggregates. Right? Yeah. The last one is kena karena passa nirupading puseyum.
Because of okay.
What reason?
Yeah, because of what kind of reason? Okay. Because of what? Yeah. Because of what? Because of what reason? The context affect oneself.
No, nirupading is nibbana.
Without craving.
With no, how can the passa contact the nibbana?
Yes.
Right? Or we can say how these contacts exist in nibbana. Wait, I have a problem here. I don't know. Suddenly, email popped up. Can you see in the screen the email has come?
We just see part of the screen.
Can you see my? Huh?
No, Bhante, but just this, your screen becomes smaller, Bhante.
No, that's the problem. Now, suddenly my inbox have popped up and I cannot close it because the Zoom bar is instructing my closing part of the inbox.
No, Bhante, we cannot see your inbox.
Huh? No, because I cannot close it. That's the problem. Now the screen has become very small. Okay, now okay. Right. So yeah, this is a very little bit of a difficult gatha to understand. We'll go into the vocabulary first. Aranya is forest. Atta. Thank you, Sally. Thank you, Sally, for your translation. It was a very difficult gatha. Aranya is forest. Atta is self. Daheta is the third person singular optative attanopada from dahati. Right? It's better not to translate as you. It can be translated as a third person singular. To assume, to claim, to consider, to put, to place. So these are the meanings of daheta. So here it's considering. Mainly it refers to considering. Dukkha is suffering, neuter gender here. Eva indeed, indeclinable of emphasizing. Gama is village. Nirupadi is state free from aggregates. The state free from aggregates is nibbana. Para is oneself, others, not oneself, right? Then paticca is due to. Passa is contact, which is the cause of blissful and painful feeling. So we can see it in the commentary. So this gatha refers to the passa as a reason for painful and suffering, blissful feeling. That's why passa pacca vedana we have. Pusati, the word pusati refers to exist here, not to touch. Normally passa refers to touch in our explanation, Abhidhamma explanation. But here it refers to exist. So you can see here in the commentary, it says, pusanti tatta pavattanti eva. pavattanti. So pusanti means visyam pusanti tatta pavattanti. They exist there, right? So then putta here means, according to the Gatha, the meaning should be taken as experiencing, similar to present participle, right? Putta has to be taken as in a present participle meaning. So according to this, according to the commentary of the Gatha. So it says, according to this, Sukadukka Putto, Gameva Aranyeva Yatta Kattachi Sukena Dukkenja Putto, Sukadini Anubhavanto, right? Sukadini Anubhavanto. So Putta should be understood as Anubhavanta. So this is commentary we understand, even though this is a past participle, because if when we are affected by sukha and dukkha, it means we are experiencing sukha and dukkha. So in terms of philosophy, so when we say we are being touched by sukha and dukkha, in another we can say we are experiencing sukha and dukkha. So that's why it says, should be, for your easy understanding, it's better to say as a present participle. That's how the meaning was given. Otherwise it would have given it as a past participle. Then upadi is a synonym for 5 aggregates of clinging. So these are the words, right? So these words all have a very quite deep meaning. So what does it mean? So gameva aranyeva, either in the village or in the forest, sukha dukkha putto, experiencing the bliss and the suffering, blissful feeling and the suffering, experiencing bliss or suffering. So while experiencing bliss or suffering, attano no daheta, we should not consider this is I am experiencing or this is my happiness. Eva. No parato daheta heva, we should not, emphasis was given, one should not consider this as others or it's caused by others, because now the incident was monks were accused of by the other ascetics. So when the accusation was given, it is not a pleasant thing to be accused. So it's a one kind of a suffering. So when the suffering happens because of the accusation or something, don't consider this is my suffering, I am being accused, or don't think that this suffering was brought to me by someone else, these people. Just think about the realities are happening because of causes. So this kind of vipassana idea Buddha is giving here. So not only for Putta, the story is regarding the suffering. Now, that is the nature of the Buddha. It's a very wonderful teacher. So incident was regarding the accusation, which is a dukkha vedana. Like dukkha vedana means it's not a pleasant thing, accusation, getting an accusation. But he mentioned not only for suffering, but for both suffering and happiness. Even you get the praise when you go out in the village, or someone praises you, someone gives you lots of pleasures. Still don't think that I am in a blissful state. It is my bliss. It's just, don't consider it as my, or don't consider that the bliss was given to me by this person and so forth. So get rid of the self ideas. So that's what he's saying. Attato daheta na parato daheta. This is instrumental case. To suffix. To suffix is an instrumental case. I think we discussed on this matter. To suffix have few meanings if you remember. Sometimes it refers to the mostly ablative case, locative case. In some cases, instrumental. Instrumental in attato, parato, aniccato, dukkato, consider something as something. But in grammatically, we call it instrumental to suffix. So don't consider it as self or connected. Don't consider is something as a self or connected to a self. Don't consider it is something given by others or connected to other selves. So this is the first thing. So when we are experiencing happiness and suffering in any place, always don't try to mix it with a self. It's a very deep philosophical point. Passa upadim paticca pusanti. So when sukha dukkha putta means now touched by the happiness and happy feeling and painful feeling, right? Happy feeling and painful feeling. What is the cause for this happy feeling and painful feeling? That is passa. right? Passa. So because of passa, contact, we get this happiness and suffering. So now he's going to the cause of this suffering and happiness, right? Cause of this suffering and happiness. That is passa. So this was the effect. You are experiencing happiness and bliss, and now he's going to the cause. There's an alternative explanation. If you go into the commentary, we can see it says sukha dukkha putta means sukhani dukkhani anubhavanto, right? Or sukha yatta kacchati sukhena dukkena cha putto sukha dukkhani anubhavanto te sangma paccehi samangi bhuto. Or either you are endowed with the causes for the suffering and happiness. You are endowed with the cause of suffering and happiness. What is the cause for suffering and happiness? Mainly, the proximate cause is the contact. So there are two types of contact. Dukkha vedaniya passa, sukha vedaniya passa. The contact which brings forth happiness, the contact which brings forth suffering. So either you are with the causes of suffering or you are while experiencing the suffering. So in one play to explain is this is you are experiencing or you are with the causes for this experience. Now he has gone to the cause directly. Passa. Upading paticca pusanti. Upadi means there are few types of upadi. Like we have khanda upadi, kilesa upadi, two types of upadi, khanda upadi and kilesa upadi. So so here, according to the commentary, it is referring to the 5 aggregates of clinging. Paticca, because of, due to which. So why these passa exist? Passa is the reason for your happiness and suffering. This is the result. Now he has come to the cause, passa. Now why? Now cause of, it's like this. Now Vedana is the experience that we are having. Because of Vedana, we get Vedana is the most important thing in our lives, I would call, for our happiness and suffering. One of the very important things. Because of Vedana, Sukha Vedana, we are not enough of living. We just want to continue life because of Sukha Vedana. There's no other thing that we do not crave much than the Sukha Vedana. We crave most to the Sukha Vedana. And then there's nothing else that we fear most than the Dukkha Vedana. So these are the very important factors in our sansaric lives. Vedana is caused by passa. So we passa have two types of passa. Sukha Vedaniya passa, the passa which causes happy feeling. Dukkha Vedaniya passa, the passa which causes suffering. And also Upekha Vedaniya passa is there. In the Upekha Vedana is included in Sukha Vedana here. Because Vedana can be put into two, Sukha and Dukkha. So in that, Upekha is put into the Sukha group. Now why he's telling passa pusanti. Pusanti is existing, pavattanti. Passa pusanti, we normally translate as make a contact. Here it refers to exist. Why does this passa, the cause of Vedana, exist? Because of upading paticca. This is the 5 aggregates of clinging, upadi. Upadi is panchakhanda. Panchupa dana khanda. Right? So we can see a linear causal explanation. Vedana, passa and upadi. Passa, upadim, patincha, pusanti. These passas exist because of the 5 aggregates of clinging. Kena karanena, kena. So here you can see kena. So kena means karanena. Kena karanena. Kena is we call it sabbanama. Call it how do you call it? Sabbanama? I forgot the word. Sorry.
Interrogative pronoun.
Interrogative pronoun, right? Sorry, interrogative pronoun. So kena karanena. So we have to include the karanena. For due to which reason? Passa puseyung exist. Passa puseyung nirupading. Or passa make a contact of the nirupading is nibbana. So when the 5 aggregates are gone means they are not occurring anymore, right? So there cannot be any passa. If there is no passa, there is no suffering or bliss. So he's reversing the order. So with this sentence, he's talking about the cessation of the paticca samuppada. Here we are talking about the paticca samuppada, this Vedana, passa and aggregates. So when the aggregates are gone because of attaining nibbana, in nibbana, so there is no passa, there is no Vedana. So it's a reverse order of explanation. Yattapana passana pusanti, where the passa does not exist. Pusati sure here should be taken as existing. Tang dasetum, to show that. Nirupading kena pusayum passati utta. Sabbaso hi, so in all the ways. Kanda upadiya asati, when the absence of kanda upadi, aggregates of clinging. Kena karanena, due to which reason? Te passa pusayum, those contacts exist. For whatever, for which reason? Nata karanam, there is no reason for the contacts to exist when there is no aggregates. When there is no contact, there is no Vedana. Yadihi tumhe, if you, tumhe, akkosanadi vasena uppajjanaka sukha dukkana ichchata, if you don't wish to have the happiness and suffering, which happens due to accusation or praise, both are considered. If you don't like this, the blissful feeling, nor the suffering feeling caused by accusation, nor by praise, but normally people would like this praise, the blissful feeling with praise. A wise person would understand they are the, we can see they are just the two sides of the same coin, because same coin means they follow each other normally, this bliss and the suffering. So therefore, if you don't like this blissful feeling and suffering feeling, which is caused by these praising and accusation and so forth, sabbaso, if you want that, sabbaso, nirupading eva yogam karayat, you try to attain the nirvana, because that is the real freedom from these feelings. It's not that someone accuses you, you counter accuse him, you just shout with him, argue with him, or you find the ways to get the bliss in the sansara. Like sometimes we encounter suffering, so then we work hard to get the bliss. That has to be done as a human being, and also one who is traveling in sansara. That's why we wish to be born in the blissful abodes. One reason, the main reason, is to get the happiness. Another reason is to attain nibbana. That view comes to us only when we have encountering Buddhist teachings. Otherwise, blissful abode is for our happiness. So then, if someone, we normally try like that, try in that manner to avoid the suffering and to encounter the bliss. But if you want to completely get rid of this, right? So if you want to get rid of this in all the manners, right? All the manners, just try hard to attain this nirupadi. Nirupadi means nibbana. Because as long as you wander in sansara, sometimes you may get the bliss, but always there will be the contact. So it would call bliss and suffering both. And so suffering will be encountered. Now, according to the Buddha here, what he's mentioning, he is considering the blissful feeling also as a suffering. So that's why I say, if you don't like this blissful feeling and also the suffering feeling. But for the normal people, they would like the bliss, they would adverse or doesn't like the suffering. But for a person with high intellectual knowledge, he would consider even the blissful feeling brings a lot of suffering if you consider its nature. So for a wise person who is intellectually considering blissful feeling and suffering are both considered as a part of the noble truth of suffering. So therefore, if you don't wish to gain both these feelings, whatever feeling, we have to get into the passa. To get into the passa, you have to get into the khanda. So for that, only way is to attain the nirvana. So try hard to attain nirvana. So it's a very wonderful Dhamma message. At the same time, it also explains about the technique. Now, if you go into a way of analyzing, similar to Netti, if you analyze this, I'm not saying it's exactly Netti I'm talking, a way of explaining, you can see the practice here. So you see the Sukha Dukkha Putta means, even though the teaching was given for a certain incident, that the monks were accused, there was a particular incident, but we can apply this into generally to every being. So whatever, whether we are accused of praise, we are always experiencing suffering, either bliss, or either intermediate feeling, because we have Vedana all the time. It is Sabbha Chitta Sadharana Chetasika. So we are always constantly having Vedana, either in the village or in the forest, wherever we go, we are always having this feeling. So when the feeling arises, don't consider as yours. Don't consider this feeling, bliss or suffering was caused by someone else. right? Don't consider this. So as long as the aggregates are there, these contacts would exist, which cause this suffering. So understand the cause of this feeling, that is passa. They exist because of the aggregates. So when the nibbana is attained, we don't. There is no passa, no vedana. So this is the method to attain this nibbana, to practice yourself. Have this don't consider like this. Don't consider in a self. So this indicates the practice. So it means vipassana practice. You have to consider just this as khanda ayatana dhatu satcha. So that's why it says in the commentary, nevattato no parato daheta aham sukito. I am bliss. I have, how to say, I am connected with bliss, so I am happy. Aham dukkito, I am suffering. Mama sukam, this is my happiness. Mama dukkam, this is my suffering. Parenidang mayham sukadukkang upaditang. My suffering and happiness was begot or caused, arose by someone else. Cha neva attato na parato tan sukadukkan tapeta. Don't consider this happiness as yours or others, or related to yourself or others. Kasma, what is the reason? Nahetta khanda panchake ahantiva mamantiva parotiva parasati pasitabba yuttakam kinchiyati. In these five aggregates, there is nothing to be considered as I, mine, someone else, or belonging to someone else. There's nothing to be seen, anything to be seen. So kevalam, just merely sankhara eva pana yata patyang upajitva. So just merely sankharas, conditioned natures, just arise due to causes, yata pacha, according to the causes having arisen. Khane bijjanti, passes away each and every moment. As soon as they arise, they just pass away. Sukha dukkha gahanen chitta desana sisam. Here, sukha dukkha gahanam is also desana sisam. It's like a desana mattang, desana sisam. It's just a way of saying, way of preaching. So in the context of Vedana, all the sabba sapi lokiya dhammasa vasena atto vedtabbo. So even though it mentioned Desana was preached as Vedana, we have to consider all the mundane realities in this. So even we say while we are enjoying or experiencing bliss or suffering or intermediate feeling, you can also say we are constituted with all the Lokiya Dhammas, all the conditioned mundane realities. They arise and pass away like the Vedana. Iti Bhagava, thus the Blessed One. Nahang Pancha Kasati Kincha tasminchi nacha mama panchi kochani kattachi kinchanattanti chatukkotikan sunyatam vibhaveti. So these 4 types of sunyata. Sunyata here means absence of self, not the absence of realities, absence of self. Nahahang kwanchi, there is nothing to be considered as I. Kasachi, there is nothing to be considered as of some belonging to someone. Is not belonging, no I, no belong to someone. Nacha mama, it's not mine. Kattachi kinchanati. Kinchanati. So technically, I'm unable to translate them grammatically. You can find this in the Visuddhi Magga, Sankhara Upekha Jnana. In the Sankhara Upekha Jnana, Sunyata has been explained in various ways. This is the 4-fold way, Chatukkotika Sunyata. To my memory, if my memory was correct, this was saying, according to the commentary also, what we have read so far, there's no I, there's nothing to be considered as mine, there's no other person, there's nothing to be considered as belonging to other person. These are the 4-fold way of consideration. Yeah, so this is a very nice gatha which indicates the path for our liberation. Yeah, if you have any questions, 1 or 2, because the time has passed, I think I have taken more half an hour. So if you have any questions.
Bhante?
Yes, sir.
You said that Dahita we considered with third person singular, and but we have the Puseyong. But Puseyong in the commentary, they explain as like the. Could you please go to the commentary? It's something like this. The person plural.
Yes.
You see, they use the Garyatadi here in later.
Yeah. So yeah, I heard like you translated that as an awada. because in the end of the commentary, Buddha is giving advice to them, right? Giving an advice. So this indicates like advice given to the others. So here, the last sentence is Passa is third person plural, so it becomes Puseyum, right? Passa Pusanti is third person singular, and this is third person plural. So this one, Daheta, right? Daheta. So this normally Dahati, the verb is Dahati, right? If you want to make it a causative, Daheti. So what I felt was, if it was second person plural advice, it should be Dahata, right? So this becomes Daheta. So that's why I took it as optative singular, Eta era. Did you get my point? It's true that this was given as an instruction, right? This was given as instruction at the end.
I'm thinking because for the optative, second person plural also is eta, right? You should not do something like that.
Eta, eyung, eyas, eyatha.
We have the eta, right? In the second person plural or the optative mode.
Okay, yeah, eta, eya. Yeah, we have, right? Eto, eto. Yeah, in that case, we can take both. Yeah, we can take it as a, if you take it as third person singular, we can say optative third person singular. If you take it as third person, second person plural, then we have to consider as tumhe. Tumhe gameva aranyeva sukha dukkha putto. So then becomes problem here with here, right? It should be sukha dukkha putta if it was plural. We have a clash here, sir. If it was second person plural, yeah, it's tumhe daheta is okay, possible. That is possible. But then we clash here, right? Because this is the right.
Hi, Bhante. I think okay. I think this one is also Atanopada.
Eta eram, yeah, third person singular, right? Atanopada.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what Syala was saying. There is a parasapada second person plural eta also. So for optative case. So what she was suggesting is tumhe eta. It's possible, but then we will clash here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Then it will be sukha dukkha putta, right? Right. Yeah. So it's better to take it as second person, third person singular. Right. So, any questions on this? Okay, then shall we call it a day, Sally? We have taken a lot of time. I think it's lunch time for you in Myanmar.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu.